Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Adair Live. We'll be hosting these every week, featuring experts from the home building industry to help you understand the ins and outs of building your dream home on your land. My name is Carrie Montoya. I'm the marketing manager here at Adair, and my co-host today and almost every day is Jay Sowers. Jay has been with Adair over 20 years. He's a wealth of knowledge in all things home building. How's it going today, Jay?
It's going very well. Thank you for inviting me again.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about site development, which can be daunting for a lot of new homeowners. We will be monitoring the chat, so let us know where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building or thinking about building. Let us know what part of the process you're in. No matter what stage you're in, we'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to answer any questions you have about the home building process in general. So put those in the chat and we will get started. So Jay, in regards to site development, how does it all work?
Well, it's interesting. I would say, Carrie, upfront, site development is the one thing for, quite frankly, any customer or any builder. Site development is the one thing that is unknown. I think we can agree that the cost of the land, could be a known or fixed cost. The cost of the home with the home builder that you're choosing to go through, the options and features and additional amenities on the home are somewhat known costs. But like you said, Carrie, when it comes to site development, that's where the homeowner and the builder really need to kind of roll up their sleeves and kind of get to the bottom of it and go out and understand what those costs are.
And as far as costs for site development, how are bids obtained? Is that the homeowner's responsibility? Does Adair help with that, or whichever builder somebody might be using?
Yeah, so I would say that every builder does things a little different. There are some builders similar to Adair Homes where everything is passed through at cost for the homeowner. And then there's other builders that, will assist and get bids and then margin those bids and manage it on behalf of the homeowner. But at the end of the day, regardless of who's managing it, it's important as a consumer, as the homeowner, to really understand what developing that property is going to take. And really the way to do that is to get a hold of very good known subcontractors that the builder is used to doing business with, and getting good hard written bids on what things like septic or drilling a well or excavating that property, right? Everything that needs to be done prior to the builder actually taking over and commencing what's known as vertical construction. So very important.
So should the customer expect their builder to provide maybe a list of their own trusted vendors or vendors they've worked with in the past?
Yeah, Carrie, that's actually a great question. I'd say it's split 50-50, that if you're working with a builder who takes it upon themselves to develop the property and finish and provide your family a finished home, then generally the builder runs with it and lets you know how much it's going to cost. And the builder will obviously margin those things that they're managing for you. For the other business model, similar to Adair, but for other business models where the homeowner is able to get involved and develop the property, then yes, Carrie, the minimum expectation is whatever builder you choose to use. Well, do you have excavation contractors that you've worked with in the past, septic installers, well drillers, people that do flat work concrete for steps, decks, patios? It should be a minimum expectation of the builder to coordinate those efforts with the homeowner prior to signing contracts.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So I've heard from a few people who are in the building process that it can be difficult to get a contractor to call you back. Does Adair assist with that at all, or do you have any advice on how that should be handled?
Yeah, so one of the benefits of working with known subcontractors is just the benefit of being able to get them to call you back. And I think that if if my wife and I went out right now and we were trying to get a bid from an excavator and said, "Hi, I'm Jay. I need a bid." Excavators may or may not be willing to call you back. They might be too busy. They might not want the business. Obviously, markets change. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that if that is a known excavator with the builder that you're building with, then you could say, "Hey, I'm Jay, and I'm with Adair Homes, or I'm a customer of so and so." And then the excavator's like, "Oh, okay. Well, Adair's one of my core customers or my core clients. I'm definitely going to call this person back." So that is one more benefit of getting with known trades from the builder that you're choosing to use. Carrie, you might have lost your audio.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Okay. Whew. So say it's always something.
Amen.
So say I'm a customer. We've estimated site development costs. My loan's been funded. Costs go up for some reason. How should I expect to pay for those overages?
Okay. Now you're starting to sound like a customer. So that is one of the biggest fears that I would say most all customers or all clients face, is that if we're getting a septic bid or an excavation bid, those are just two examples today. Well, by the time I sign contracts with the builder, by the time my building permits get issued, depending upon how long that building department or jurisdiction takes to approve a building permit, you can see that there could be quite a bit of time between receiving an excavation bid, as an example, and then actually having that excavator out to physically start pushing dirt and doing the work. And Carrie, during that time, who knows? I mean, maybe gas pricing goes all the way up to $6 a gallon, right? Depending upon the date of this video. And it's one of those things where any builder that is working with lenders, I'm going to talk about lending specifically, you would want to build in a contingency fund. Most lenders require a contingency. Most builders should require a contingency on site development work. So what happens is that during construction, as that lot is getting excavated, as that septic system is getting installed, if there are unforeseen overages for any reason, then the customer is protected because there are funds available in the contingency fund to be able to pay for those items. So,
Gotta have that safety net.
Amen.
Is there any sort of guide to help put together a total site development cost?
So yes, so that's the one thing that when my wife and I recently were shopping builders for a home that we built, I'll say out of state, is it's very difficult when shopping builders, like, how do I know how much this stuff is going to cost? And it's frustrating as a consumer. Like, just tell me how much this home on that lot is going to cost, right down to the last quartz countertop. Like, just give me the number. And I struggled with it. And I'm in the industry. And so I think that whatever builder you choose to use, you just want to make sure that at a minimum, they can visualize it for you and say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you purchase this property, right, and if site development comes in at these known costs that in good faith we've budgeted for, and if you build this floor plan with these features and amenities, then here's your total project cost, including that contingency fund that we talked about. Any builder should be able to provide that to you on a simple sheet of paper, broken down for you to see. And if they can't, I would ask you to potentially keep shopping for builders.
That's your polite way of saying run.
Could be. It could be. Yeah.
So when I'm on a site evaluation with an Adair superintendent, what are the cost drivers that we may be looking for on that property?
It's another great question. So I have to say that in my history, specific here at Adair, but most customers, they really just like the property per se. Let's say we either own it or we don't own it, right? Doesn't matter. From a financial standpoint, there's certain things that the builder's not worried about. Let's just say, sewer or septic. Well, that's a pretty easy one, unless you have a very small property and we need a septic system. First off, that's not typical. But generally speaking, we're either going to get a bid for a septic system to get installed, or we're going to call the local municipality, the sewer district, and ask how much a sewer connection fee costs for that tax parcel, right? When it comes to power, it's very simple and straightforward. We get a hold of the local PUD. Where is the nearest transformer? How much is this going to cost, right? But I would say at the end of the day, for those of us that may be shopping around for property, Carrie, you asked the question of cost drivers. The real cost driver is going to be topography, right? How steep is this lot? Utilities are generally straightforward. Other aspects of site development, building permit fees, things of that nature are pretty straightforward. But when it comes to topography and how steep that lot is, whether it's sloping up or it's sloping down, that is the one thing that you and your builder just want to be very, very conscious of, because that will absolutely change not only the functionality and the structure of your home, but it will also greatly impact the bottom line for that foundation and the cost of the home.
That makes sense. Or you could just throw in a daylight basement, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. At no cost, we're just
Yep.
going to go ahead and put a daylight basement underneath this floor plan for you. Yeah. No problem.
Who needs extra foundation,
Yeah.
So as a customer, if I don't own the land, what's the process of getting a property valuation during this feasibility phase?
Okay. Most clients that builders serve, I would say, don't own property. Now, most might be an exaggeration, because there are a lot of clients that currently own property and come to a builder and say, "Hey, will you help me build on it?" But I would say for those customers, or for those of us that are really excited to build because of the cost savings that you experience versus the existing home market right now, the key is it's very simple, and most of us overthink it. But we just want to put an offer on the property. And Carrie, what that means is that there will be a very small, what's called earnest money agreement. It could be, as little as $1,000. Sometimes it could be, a couple $1,000. But essentially, when you sign an earnest money agreement, you are telling the realtor, "Hey, do me a favor, take this property off the market. It's now in my name. Give me like 15, sometimes 30 days to get my mind around it. And that way we're in contract, quote unquote. And the property can't be sold out from underneath us." The beauty there is that you, as the consumer, you have nothing to worry about. Because if for any reason during that 15 or 30-day feasibility study, if for any reason you find out that, oh man, costs are out of my budget, or maybe I've just had a change of heart and I don't want to build on this lot anymore, right? You can absolutely rescind your offer and get your money back. No harm, no foul. But the benefit, Carrie, of putting an offer on a property is, for those of us that may run scared and say, "Well, I'm not going to put an offer on it. I'm not ready to do that." Okay. Well, now all of the due diligence that you're doing on this property, right? In anything any research or quite frankly, anything that you're doing on this property, right, could be for naught, because who knows? I mean, last Wednesday, another family could have come in and made an offer on the property, and now it's gone. So, long-winded way of saying, there's no risk to you as the buyer, but if you don't own land, we would simply want you to put an offer on your favorite property.
That makes a lot of sense. So, is it safe to say that I will know my total site development costs before I'm making any real buying decisions?
Remember that comment we made earlier about how if a builder's unable to do that, respectfully, you might want to keep shopping? Is that yes, up front, any builder who's building new home construction, when it comes to the land, whether the builder owns it or doesn't own it, or the consumer owns it or doesn't own it, when it comes to a very good known number of site development and then the home itself, any builder should be able to clearly articulate what that home total project cost is going to cost before you make any, I'll say, obligations to the builder or signing contracts with the builder. I'm not going to say numbers aren't perfect. I know a lot of custom home builders in our sector. They'll use line items such as allocations. So we are allocating this much money for the septic system. Now, I mean, if it comes over, great. If it comes under, we'll credit some money back. But all that to say, Carrie, yes, you as the consumer should have a full understanding of what that home is going to cost all in before you start signing contracts and moving forward.
Awesome. Well, I feel like I've learned a lot today. I think we've answered all the questions. If you are interested in learning more about our process or you have additional questions, we'd love to talk with you. You can schedule a time to meet with our team at www.adairhomes.com/schedule. Thank you again, Jay, for being here with us today.
You bet.
And thank you to all of our viewers. We will see you guys next week.